What's going on, people? This is Shad Harris, and this is
L. Harris.
and this is another edition of Keeping It Light. We've been gone for a couple weeks, but now we're back. We are back.
Gone for a minute, and I'm back with the jumbo. Okay, something jumbo.
Okay, so we missed a couple weeks, but this month, which is March, is our anniversary month, and we've officially, on paper, been together for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
So we felt like it would be a good opportunity to kind of chronicle our whole relationship, with each week kind of talking about and kind of just speaking on just a different element of our marriage, our relationship, and all that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So for week one of Harris Love Month, we're going to talk about our dating and courting process.
Okay.
All right. So you want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay. So before we met, right, we were both 25.
Yes.
Yeah, we were both 25 at the time. And I can only speak for me. I was in a relationship the year prior. And during this time, for like a year after that, is when I was kind of going through my whole phase, for lack of better terms. And I realized that single life wasn't for me. Like, I really didn't like it at all. So I told Elle that probably like a month or two before, I kind of went like, I ain't say cold turkey, or like, I kind of just shut down from the world. And kind of, I used to go on like fast all the time at this point. So I went on the fast and was like, you know what? I'm tired of just, being in a single life. And, I'm looking for somebody to kind of settle down with. And so this around the time I was going to church, like heavily, like by myself, which was very rare for me at that moment. So I kind of had in my head that the next woman I meet that I liked, that had all the qualities and traits that I look for, I was going to try to date with intention. So that's what I did. And then me and her met probably about a couple weeks after that. Yeah, about a couple weeks after that. So where were you at before me and you met?
So, let's see. It's 2010.
Mm-hmm.
So, I had a really bad breakup. Was that the earlier part of 2010? Might have been the earlier part of 2009, I believe. 2009, 2010. I can't remember right now. It's a blank. But had a pretty bad breakup, and that person became like a crazy stalker. And after that, I was talking to someone, but it wasn't anything serious. And I felt like I needed to take my time and just like devote it into me and stay away from guys for a while, because it was just too crazy. So I wasn't really in a place of looking for a man. I was kind of looking for my purpose. And so I was really active in like the community and working with nonprofits. I was in the gym every day with a trainer. Not trying to be vain, but like it was the greatest. I went vegan that year, so I felt the best I've ever felt in life. Like life was just good. I was always doing something, always keeping myself busy. So, and I was in my last year of my first master's program. So I really wasn't into dating. I don't even think I had a plan of like at that particular point, if I talked to a guy, like it just wasn't any pursuit of mine. However, I did know when I did start to date Rashad that I didn't want to just be dating. So if I was going to be with him, it was going to be with an intent to, to shoot for marriage, because I just didn't feel like playing games anymore, and I didn't have time to waste. So that's kind of where I was.
Okay. So so when I met Elle, was at a party.
Remet.
Huh? Remet. Because we went to elementary school together, all that rigmarole, which I feel like we talked about before. But when I re-met Elle, it was at a party. I was like in my element, which at the time I was supremely drunk.
That was your element.
Being in the house party was my element at the time. And that's just the part of that. I used to get
So
drunk
you were
a
a
lot.
house party drunk.
Actually, I was.
Never knew this.
Yeah. Not like all house parties, but yeah, certain house parties I used to be drunk at.
Okay.
So when I met her, she gave me the wrong name. I knew who her name was, knew what her name was since we went to school together and all this stuff. So just to fast track it, maybe like a day or two, like for some reason she was like really in my like mind while I was hungover in my bed like all day.
What kind of thoughts?
I was like, yo, I have to like, I'll beat myself up like, why didn't I get her number while I was at that party? I remember thinking that like, why didn't I do that? And then I was just like, you know what, F it, I'm gonna find her. So I went on Facebook and
Why didn't you just ask one of your friends that was at the party?
I don't know.
Men don't think.
Yeah, I probably wasn't thinking. I was hungover, so I didn't have all my functionality in my brain. So I went like hardcore, like scouring the Facebook, internet, interwebs, all that type of stuff, trying to find her or whatever. So I looked through.
And you couldn't find me. I wasn't searchable.
Yeah, you wasn't searchable. So I tried to find your name. Nothing came up. And then I was like, who was at that party? So I looked through my friend Darius' page. Nothing came up. And then I looked through friend, I think Aaron's page. And then I had to look through all your friends, and then I found her. And then
I wonder how many friends he had at that time while you were going through.
it was probably a good amount.
What's
So-
a good amount?
I mean, I can't remember.
Let's just do it for kicks and giggles. Would you say 1,000?
Probably 1,000. So,
That's deep.
so I looked through like 1,000 joints.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw you like, oh, that's her right there. And then I looked through all your pictures and all that stuff. I seen one picture with you and some dude, and I'm like, oh, is this her boyfriend? I remember that photo.
What photo was
It's a
it?
photo you probably still got on your Instagram. Oh, yeah, it's still on your Facebook.
It must not be a boyfriend.
Some skinny dude with a slender head.
Oh, this guy I used to work with at Capital One.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
was like, yo, is that her boyfriend?
It was a coworker.
Well, I don't know. Well, I'm gonna shoot my shot anyway. So I forgot exactly what I said. I forgot exactly the first interaction. It'd be kind of funny to bring that up.
Could you still find that?
I'll try to.
Oh, that is hilarious.
Matter of fact, you can go ahead and talk while I try to find this.
I want to see what it says.
But you gotta, we're doing a video, so you gotta talk.
You can pause it.
So yeah, I tried to find a message, but I couldn't. But
I probably can find it because I don't delete.
I'm gonna do it. I don't know.
But you go ahead and talk. I'll look.
Yeah. So
Always keep receipts, ladies. Always.
So yeah, so I reached out to her, and then I remember us having like a long conversation that day. And then from that point, I was like, you know what, I need to talk to her every day. I feel like we was talking on Facebook for a while, or for that day, and then it kind of translated over to a conversation.
I'm even worse than 2015.
So yeah,
New phone. I don't know if that has something to do with it.
it doesn't. It's Facebook.
Oh.
So yeah. So what you got?
That text message just like messed up my whole train of thought. But yeah, so you went through, you got all the text messages, you sent me the DMs and all of that stuff. Now this is my first time hearing that story. Now I've always joked about you going through and like hunting me down.
Not literally hunting for you.
Yeah, I didn't know it was that intense.
It really was. And keep in mind, I was hungover. So I was literally in my
If you
bed.
have that type of effect, if I had that type of effect on you while you were drunk, I'm pretty legit.
Go ahead and say.
So, what am I supposed to be saying now?
So, all right. So we were talking about intentionally dating.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what I wanted this full episode to be about.
Okay.
Dating intentionally. Because I feel like we were both at a place where we didn't really want to play around.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to kind of just go for, like, if it's going to work out, if it's going to be something special, then let's kind of put our energy towards that. Am I right and wrong in saying that?
Right.
Okay. So I know with me, like me and you were just talking, like probably within the first couple of months that we got together, I took you on a family trip to one of my cousins that got married. So like most of my family was there. So they got to meet you.
Yeah.
But with that, you met like my mom and my grandma like pretty early on.
Yes. So back up a little bit. Valentine's Day was when Rashad asked me to be his girlfriend. And I always joke about how, like, the first time he asked me, I said no. I think he asked me before Valentine's Day, the first time.
Yeah.
And I said no.
And she was about to get canceled for that.
Do you think I was going to get canceled after he looked through 1,000 friends for me? But the reason why I said no is it wasn't because of anything on like bad on him. I told him later it was, for me, saying yes to dating was the equivalent to saying yes to marriage for me. Because I knew whatever I was going into at this point in my life was either for the long term or not. And so I had to be sure in that. And so to be so sure of that so early in a relationship, you know, that's a lot. Because, you know, women, we can look at a guy and see our whole future in the first 5 minutes of meeting them. And so I wanted to make sure I was being smart about my decision and not like putting myself in a position of just craziness and how you would fit into my life. Because what I didn't want to do is to rearrange my life for you.
Yeah.
So I had to make sure that everything would fit and I would still be able to do the things that I wanted to do. So that's why I said no at first, because again, it's about the intention. I had to make sure that I was going to be able to give what I needed to give and vice versa. And I didn't want to be with anybody who was needy.
Yeah.
So, so then, so we were talking earlier about how I met his mom pretty early on. And so for me, I just figured he was a mama's boy because I'm like, who wants me to meet his mom this early? And I don't really want to meet your mama because I didn't even like mamas. So, you know, that was just a lot.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll talk about that later.
What?
About at our engagement party. My mom was like, I just told Rashad, she pretty on the outside. Just make sure she's pretty on the inside.
Oh, yeah.
My mama was like, and she is pretty on the inside.
Yeah, that was kind of rough.
That was rough.
Yeah, that was kind of rough. But yeah, so within our first year of dating, I feel like we got to know each other, which I feel like is the case for like most people when they first start dating. Like you just always around that person, like y'all are hanging out like multiple times throughout the week and all that.
But I feel like we really were in the beginning. We probably talked on the phone a lot, but we weren't hanging out like all the time. Because I remember at one point while we were dating in the beginning, you were like, you know, you told me that I was always busy.
Yeah.
And I needed to find time like to date as well.
Yeah.
So then I had to.
But I feel like outside of that, like once it was like clicking, I felt like we were kind of like together all the time. Or you don't think so?
I'm trying to think. Maybe like on the weekends. Because you worked a lot too.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I just know we talked a lot on the phone and I'll be exhausted going to work the next day. Because we'd be up to like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else you got to say about this episode?
Oh, that's all we got?
A couple more minutes.
Oh. So yes, dating with intention was the key. But then here's the what do you call it?
The kicker.
The kicker. When we started to date, Rashad almost got left because his proposal took a while. I had my due date of the proposal and he was almost 2 months. He made it within 2 months of his expiration date.
Which I understand why you did it, but I wouldn't suggest anybody else having like a serious due date like that.
I would suggest that you do.
And look at the last.
I would suggest that you do, and you do, and you do. Because it's not about him. Because if it's supposed to be and if it's supposed to work, it's going to work. But I also feel like it allows you to put yourself in a position of understanding your own value and worth. I'm not gonna sit here and date you forever. Just not gonna happen.
Oh.
As I stated in the beginning, once I said yes to being your girlfriend with intention, then okay, now I have to understand what that means for me. So I had to process that, and I said, all right, if this is gonna work, if this is gonna be serious, then by this date, if he proposes, then that means this is the person I'm supposed to be with.
Okay.
And if not, then don't. Now, here's the key. Also, you don't tell that person what that date is. That is a date that you keep between yourself and God.
Okay. So let's go back just a little step before we kind of close this out. 'Cause I feel like we kind of like all over the place.
We are.
We ain't really did this in a while.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
And we just got a whole bunch of text messages coming through.
Yeah,
and,
it's a lot going on.
yeah.
So, all right. So, at what point during the course of us dating did you like, you know what? I could be with him forever.
When you asked me to be your girlfriend, were you listening to me?
No. I get that, but so there was no point like during the course of it where you like, okay, I can really see it now.
No, I really saw it then.
Oh, okay.
So that's why when the first time you asked me, I said no, because I had to be able to see it.
Okay.
So yes, it was early on in the relationship, but I was able to see it, and I could see like where it could go long term.
Okay.
And I think even in the beginning, I was very superficial in our relationship. I don't know if I ever told you that. But like Rashad had this Mitsubishi Galant and it used to scream when it was cold outside.
Oh, yeah, it did.
It sounded like a tea kettle. And I used to be like, yo, so I'm gonna be with this dude and his car scream all the time. Like, is it ever gonna not scream? So superficial. And you know why? That was baggage I carried from my last relationship. Because I was with somebody who was super superficial. So I still had that within me. And then I had to think about it like, this ain't even who I am. Like, why does that matter? What does it have to do with who a person is? So I had to like shake myself out of that whole like, because I remember calling my ex-best friend at the time. And I was like, yeah, I was like, I really like him. His car just make a lot of noise.
Terrible.
Yeah, but don't let that be your deciding factor. Seriously, I think that, and then I had to think back too with my mom and my stepdad. My stepdad had the worst car ever. It didn't have an ounce of paint on it. It was like ashy. I don't know if you ever seen that ashy car that was like so rusted that it was just like a ash gray, like a
No.
granite almost. And he had this ashy car, 2-door, that we hated. We used to duck down in the back seat, and he would ride past people and be like, do you know Eltonette? Or do you know Ebony? Like asking people if they knew us while we were ducking down in the back. And the car just smelled like gasoline. But
I've been in one of those before.
Understanding like that car that he had and the place that he's at in life and how well they're off financially, like sometimes you gotta move out of your own head. That is just unnecessary.
Okay.
So
I think for me, when I came into our relationship, I knew that I liked you a lot. I knew there was, opportunity for growth. But I didn't know for sure, like, all right, she will definitely be my wife.
when was that moment for you?
It was my birthday when you kind of...
Which one? There was a lot of great ones.
It was my birthday that year. It was only one birthday before we got engaged. We was only together for 1 year.
Oh, okay.
So during his birthday, like I told her, like, when I was a kid, me, my mom, my dad used to go to this restaurant out Smithfield all the time, which I ain't been to. At that point, I ain't been to in probably like 10, 15 years. So she kind of set it up where like my mom, my dad, and some other, people in my family like surprised me on my birthday at this restaurant. So at that point, I was like, you know what? She kind of went out of her way to kind of plan something that I haven't had in years. And she did it as all surprise. She brought like both my sides. My parents are divorced. They've been divorced for 20 years. So bring that together, like I said, it's something I haven't had in a while. So it was something super special to me. So at that moment, I realized that, she's the one.
And we went to go see Kanye and Jay-Z.
That was doing that, right? Yep. And saw Kanye and Jay-Z, which I loved. One of the greatest shows ever. So,
Ever in life.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anything else?
Yeah. That was a great birthday.
It was. Anything else on intentional dating?
No, I just think you just have to know where you are in life, in your place. And I think that I think now a lot of people who are at a particular age, it's like you're either at a place of desperation because you don't want to be lonely, or you're at a place of, I'm not settling. This is what I have. I've been single this long. You know, I'm going to keep waiting for this to happen. And I feel like...
One day we got to talk about that, though.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes that list will get you in trouble. I think you should definitely have a list. I definitely think you should still have a list, but I think that sometimes that list can prevent you from... It can prevent you from doing, like, being with someone that's good for you. Because you'll have those, like, little things. Like, he got to have a BMW, which could be some of the worst cars at times. So they break down a lot. Like, does he have money maintenance to manage the BMW? Does he live out of the BMW? Like, you just never know what a person's situation is. And if you base everything on superficial, it can get you in trouble. But I do feel that you should have a list. Like, I saw a post, I think I sent it to you, about someone saying, are we still doing that? And I was just like, that's so... You better have a list. You better have some standards that you have written down.
But you also need to understand the market.
Know your market.
Know the market.
Know who you are in the market as well.
That's important.
You know your suggested retail value. What are you bringing to the table to match everything on that list that you write down? Yeah. What is my punchline for that list? Like, I got this, but I got this. He got this, but I got this. So.
And something that, even though we're going to talk about this on a future episode, I promise, you got to know. I feel like a lot of women don't know men. Mm-hmm. So someone will say, like, I got these degrees and all this stuff, but men don't really care about that. Mm-hmm. Unless they leeches and they just trying to leech off you. But a serviceable man or an upstanding man don't really care about that. But we're going to talk about that in another episode. So that is it. That is it. So you got anything else you want to say?
That is it.
All right. So
that is it.
So I know this was all over the place. It didn't flow smoothly at all. But, we're a little rusty, so we're going to get back into it.
It's been a while. I haven't done videos in weeks, so...
Yeah, me neither.
I'm back on it this week.
Yeah.
I just am really feeling it, right?
Yeah, me neither. So once again, thank you guys for watching another episode of Keeping It Light. I'm Shad Harris, and this is...
Hell Harris.
And you guys stay safe, stay on the free, but keep creating, keep shooting, keep loving on each other, and y'all have a good one.
Are you still going to say Rona free even after the Rona is gone?
Probably so.